From the very beginning, Attack on Titan is presented as a story in a limited setting with minimal world building. It is so hard to figure out why the Titans exist and how far a story with mindless monsters slaughtering humans can go. But with time, we learned that this was intentional and that the original story is vast and expansive. It is just that Isayama has been giving us limited information, and any information that reveals the secrets of the world is almost always out of context. So much so that it becomes Lovecraftian in nature, as we cannot comprehend the extent of the spoilers we are getting. One of the many things that allows for the story's expansion, if not its formation, is the presence of alternate realities. These realities have also been alluded to since the very beginning, but we never realized what we were in for. The presence of alternate realities is also a hopeful situation because it subconsciously tells us that if things go wrong in one world, they can go right in the other. Unfortunately, this is Attack on Titan written by a mangaka who has explicitly claimed to want to open a sauna with the money acquired from the tears of his readers. There is no way for the story not to be depressing. We should be grateful that it got a bittersweet ending and that Levi survived. Each alternate timeline exists due to the different choices made by the characters. In this video, we will explain how the timelines exist and how they have always been a part of the Attack on Titan universe. What are the first signs that there is an alternate timeline in AOT? Attack on Titan more or less spoils the entire story throughout the early seasons, but because those moments take place so out of context, it becomes impossible for us as viewers and readers to see through the foreshadowing. In fact, Attack on Titan begins with such a moment with Eren sleeping under the tree near the outer walls and he is having a dream. In the anime version, he witnesses moments such as his mother's death, the deaths of Levi's squad members such as Petra, blood spilling over flowers and the likes. These events have not happened yet, and we only get to see the imagery for split seconds. Like us, Eren himself has little to no recollection of his dream. He just knows that he has had a long dream, and Mikasa spots him crying as he wakes up. In the manga, as Eren wakes up, he hears Mikasa say the words, "See you later, Eren," and waking up, he asks Mikasa when her hair had gotten so long. Needless to say, none of these things made sense to us back then. The next thing that confused us was Mikasa's headaches, specifically because they were associated with flashbacks. We saw her get one out of the blue while she was escaping Shiganshina. Her memories were suddenly flooded with the imagery of her parents, who we had not learned about back then. She also got headaches after regaining consciousness following the fight against Reiner and Berthold in Season 2. A more memorable scene would be her getting headaches and visions of Eren killing her kidnappers while she was in prison. During the Battle of Heaven and Earth, her headaches got significantly worse, and there was a point where she said that she wanted to go back to the home she had with Eren. Around this point, we assumed the home to be the Jaeger household, where Mikasa spent a year with Eren, Carla, and Grisha after her parents were killed. These vague moments played a crucial role in building intrigue for the story, especially because the titles made it even weirder. For example, the pilot episode of Attack on Titan is known as To You 2,000 Years From Now. Super big episode name, but a super big opening. It is not until the main story kicks off that the show even starts to make sense. For clarification, this was not where we assumed that an alternate timeline existed, but this was where the foundation of the existence of the said timeline was laid down. When did we realize that there could be another possible timeline in AOT? In one of the OVAs, or original video animations, we see an anime original story centered around Mikasa. Although not written by Isayama, the OVAs can be considered canon as they are connected to and even alluded to in the canon story. Known as Lost Girls, Lost in the Cruel World, the episode revolves around Mikasa imagining how Eren would be with her and Armin after accomplishing his goals, much to her displeasure. She suddenly thinks of the events of year 844 when her parents were killed. We see her go through the same moments with her family members. Suddenly there is a knock on the door, and this time the people who appear as the door opens are not the sex traffickers but Eren and Grisha. Eren and Mikasa go on to become friends, especially with Mikasa's mother being pregnant and Grisha being the Ackerman household's family doctor. From Eren, Mikasa learns about his desire to join the scout regiment. She also hears about Eren's intelligent friend Armin and the existence of the ocean, lands of fire, snow, and sand, and basically the outside world. Eren tells her that all such things apparently exist in the outside world. At some point, Eren gets into a separate fight and gets beaten up so badly that he stops coming over to the Ackerman household. With Mikasa's mother falling victim to an infection, however, her family relocates to a place closer to the Jaeger household for Grisha's assistance, which brings Mikasa closer to Eren. Fortunately for her, she gets to see him again. Unfortunately, she learns that the continued defeat of the Survey Corps has led to the gated walls being sealed, making it impossible impossible for anyone to leave. So Eren and Armin decide to venture outside the walls in a hot air balloon, which is very much illegal and will result in their deaths. Armin is not as pumped to be part of this plan, but Eren clearly is. When Mikasa asks him to take her as well, he wraps the red scarf around her and asks her to reach their spot in 3 days, since that is when they are planning to venture out. On the day, a festival is being held at Shiganshina to celebrate the sealing of the gate. Mikasa knows that she has to reach Eren by the sound of the third bell ring, so she rushes across the crowd. As she hears the first ring, however, she is intercepted by a masked man who is performing as a magician in the festival and promises to the crowd that he will make Mikasa a murderer for his act. He offers Mikasa to kill him, but she gets more restless as the second bell rings. To her surprise, the man tells her that she will not be able to meet her friend and that he will leave her behind. She is shocked to know that the man knows about Eren. He also tells her that she is lost in this world because she could not accept Eren's death, and yet whichever world she finds herself in, Eren's death is certain. Clearly, this explicitly introduces us to an alternate reality. It is also necessary to remember that the events of the OVA take place right after Mikasa learns about Eren's apparent death at Tross and gives up on fighting after realizing that she has lost her family again. Back in this alternate reality, Mikasa has not awakened her powers as an Ackerman because she never went through the event of being kidnapped and having to save Eren. And yet, as the masked man urged her to kill him by handing her a knife, and with the third bell ringing, Mikasa ends up awakening her powers and killing him before she rushes off to see Eren. However, she had also heard a loud booming sound from where Eren was supposed to be and saw the apparition of a Titan for a split second. Once she reaches the forest, she sees Armin crying as he tells her that the hot air balloon did not gain enough altitude, so Eren pushes Armin away to save him while the balloon crashes into the walls, leading to Eren's death. This makes the masked man's words true, as he had mentioned how Eren's death in any reality was certain. In fact, the events of this reality were different from the ones in the original, but they were all leading to the same things. For example, Eren and Mikasa grow close. Mikasa learns about Armin from Eren. She gets the red scarf from him. She moves to Shiganshina and gets the opportunity to live close to Eren. She awakens her Ackerman powers and Eren dies. Soon after, Mikasa snaps back into reality and braces herself to fight off the Titan despite having given up a short while ago. However, to her surprise, a second Titan comes in to save her, which we know as Eren's Attack Titan form. This makes another thing clear, that the alternate reality exists, but Mikasa could snap in and out between the two realities, well, kind of. How does Attack on School Casts figure into this conversation? Attack on School Casts is a manga written and illustrated by Isayama himself, where the members of the Survey Corps are part of a school, either as students or faculty. Every character is slightly different in the sense that Armin is a stereotypical nerd with glasses, Mikasa is like an edgy e-girl, Reiner is a jock, and so on and so forth. This is technically not part of the main story like the aforementioned OVA, and exists in a different world altogether. However, several incidents here are close to the original as well. For example, Levi is a clean freak janitor at the school. Eren has to deal with a zombie apocalypse in his dream, and he wakes up crying from it, specifically because the apocalypse had brought some fun into his boring life. In fact, he went on to think about causing a cataclysmic event for the sake of it. Every scenario has some basis in the original universe of Attack on Titan. Levi is not a janitor, but he is a clean freak. Armin is technically an academically inclined character. The zombie apocalypse alludes to the rumbling. Eren waking up in tears from his dream is a direct reference to the scene from episode 1 where Eren witnessed the rumbling in his dreams. And finally, Eren wanting to start a cataclysmic event is very much related to him initiating the rumbling. Isayama himself has always intended for the Attack on Titan cast's alternate universe to get linked to the main story. We see him pull this off in the final season of the anime right after Eren's head is caught by Zeke, which gives him access to the Path's realm. Eren's memories flash across the scene and we get to see snippets from the time when Mikasa would carry wood in Shiganshina with him, Armin running with a smile, etc. We also see the memories of the previous wielders of the attack and the founding Titan. For example, we get to see Faye Yeager, Rita Rise combing her hair, the Rise family standing in a chapel, and the likes. But two unknown moments make it to the roster as well. One moment shows Reiner and company in the sauna, and the others show us a nerd Armin with a goth or edgy Mikasa. One of the Attack on School cast's illustrations showed us Reiner, Eren, Armin, Levi, Jean, and Connie in the sauna, bearing that there are no other moments of the characters going to the sauna together, which tells us that the main universe is very evidently showing Eren snippets from the alternate universe, thus confirming the existence of alternate realities in the verse. How does the final chapter of Attack on Titan solve the mystery of the alternate timeline? As the battle of heaven and earth nears its end, things begin to look bleak for the Alliance and humanity. The source which they have managed to separate from Eren seems to be indestructible. It also turns every Eldian, including Jean, Connie, and Gabby, into pure Titans, leaving the two Ackermans and the Titan Shifters as the only ones in the battlefield. Armin, in his colossal Titan form, fights Eren, who is also a colossal Titan now because with access to the power of the Founder, he can be anything he wants to be. Meanwhile, Mikasa is in extreme emotional distress from several reasons. For starters, her last interaction with Eren was from the time when he told her how he hated her for being a slave to her Ackerman bloodline. To top that off, their issues are getting worse even after they stop the rumbling. And finally, she is experiencing excruciating headaches, which is not new to her, but it has never been as bad as it is now. While Levi asks her to stay composed since the two of them are the only ones who can end the entire fiasco, Mikasa sees visions of an Eren from the pilot episode sleeping under the tree. We know that her headaches are often associated with visions since every time she has had them, imagery from past experiences flashes through her mind. As she sees the image of Eren, she says that she wants to go home. Now, the home that she refers to is not her childhood home, but a cabin in the woods, a cabin where she lived with Eren in an alternate reality. At some point during their trip in Marley, Eren had asked Mikasa what he was to him, basically laying the foundation for her romantic confession to him. The question flustered Mikasa, however, who expressed that she always cared about him so much because he was family. Eren interpreted it as her rejection and went ahead with his original plans of causing the rumbling to bring the power of the Titans to an end. However, had Mikasa confessed her feelings then and there, Eren would have given up on bigger plans and ran away with Mikasa, choosing to spend the remaining few years of his life under the curse of Ymir with Mikasa in a faraway cabin. With Eren making such a decision, things would have gone to hell anyway because there would be nothing to stop Marley from annihilating Paradise Island. The subjects of Ymir and Ymir Fritz herself would never attain freedom, but Eren was okay with it since both he and Mikasa were mutually in love with one another. When Mikasa sees visions from the cabin during the battle, she experiences herself waking up from a long dream, much like Eren from the first episode. Eren tells her that if she stays outside, she will catch a cold and that he has caught a big fish. However, Mikasa's eyes tear up and no one knows why. She just mentions that she suddenly feels like she does not belong here. This is when Eren tells her that there is nothing they can do about it anymore since they abandoned everything to be together. Paradis has lost the war against Marley and it is about to be invaded soon. Armin does not know where the two of them are, and Eren in this reality could neither allow Historia to turn into livestock nor could he cause the rumbling, so he chose to live out his remaining few years far away with Mikasa. Soon after, Mikasa and Eren hug each other and he asks her to throw the red scarf away on his death. He even wants her to forget about him and to be free while his face begins to show the scarring from the Titan marks. Mikasa then sits down at a bench nearby. This entire scenario depicts memories from the alternate reality returning to the Mikasa from the main story. Her Ackerman lineage was what allowed her to regain these memories. With Eren having access to the paths as the founding Titan and the ability to send future memories to the past as the attack Titan, he was able to manipulate Mikasa's mind, preventing her from regaining the memories from the cabin universe. However, because her bloodline made her predestined to regain those memories, Eren had to constantly wipe her mind clean. This is why Mikasa's headaches were often accompanied by visions. Had she remembered her life in the cabin, she would have never found the strength to kill Eren in the main reality. So it was important for Eren to prevent her from acquiring those memories. It is not until the very end that Eren lets her get those memories back. In the end, Mikasa chooses not to listen to Eren's advice of throwing the scarf away and forgetting Eren. Instead, she tightens the scarf around herself and her visions allow her to know the location of the real Eren. Using the Warhammer's abilities, Eren was hiding himself inside the mouth of the founding Titan, so Mikasa breaks inside the mouth and closes in on him. The scene cuts back to the cabin reality where Mikasa bends in front of a dying Eren on the bench as she tells him that she will see him later. She then kisses him on the lips, and although we did not get to see the kiss on the bench, we do see Mikasa successfully slice Eren's nape in the main reality and kiss his severed head while the founder Ymir witnesses the scene. The very first chapter of Attack on Titan had Mikasa using the same words on Eren, telling him that she will see him later. This is why he had woken up crying, because not only had he witnessed several alternate realities that taught him how the rumbling was the only way, but he was also dying and leaving Mikasa in the cabin reality. Despite having told her that he wanted her to forget him, Eren later confessed to Armin in chapter 139 that he wanted to stay alive and be with his friends. In fact, he wanted Mikasa to remain stuck on him for at least the next 10 years. All in all, the scene See You Later Eren dialogue confirms how not only had Isayama always planned for Eren to die, but the story was always supposed to have alternate realities, and in every reality, Eren was destined to die, irrespective if Mikasa would accept it or not. The only way out from the mess was for Mikasa to be the one killing him, partially because she is an Ackerman and immune to the Founder's memory manipulation, and partially because she was picked by Ymir to bring the curse to an end. Marvel's verdict. Anytime a storyline dives into alternate realities or time traveling, things can get messy, unless it is executed very carefully. Such concepts are double-edged swords because if the execution is great and without plot holes, then it helps create some of the best stories. However, it is more likely to go wrong. For example, Baron Bo Odar's Dark nailed the time traveling concept and brought the story to a fantastic end. The same can be said for the Hollywood film Predestination. However, MCU's Phase 4 is clearly not having a great time with its depiction of alternate realities. The reason why the concept works so well in Attack on Titan is because it has its limitations. The time travel is not a flat-out depiction of Eren time hopping, but it is him sending memories from the future to the past. So it is technically not time traveling, but can have some of those effects. This ability allows him to send limited information to his younger self when and where necessary. He does the same with Mikasa and keeps wiping her mind clean for the rumbling reality to come to fruition while her physiology keeps rejecting it.